Hello, my wonderful artists. I hope you're doing well today. This is another video for the beginning and the intermediate artists that's trying to learn a few tips to try to further their workflow along. Today, we're going to be making a video about getting prepared to start a painting, a oil painting, a portrait. This is more geared towards the portrait artist. Some of these tips you can use for landscapes or still life, but mostly this is for the portrait artist. So without further ado, I'm not going to do so much talking directly to me, but I'm going to show you what I'm working with and how I got everything set up to get started with the piece that I'm actually getting ready to paint. This here is my palette. As you looked at other videos, you've seen where I have used the old paint and put new paint on top of it and kind of salvaged the old paint. Now, these are the colors for the actual person that I'm getting ready to paint. But today, what I'm going to show you is that I'm going to use this, probably this color here, which is a burnt umber or either a let's see, it is probably a ultra, not ultra, but raw sienna or either burnt umber. And I take this color and I use Gamsol and I basically get it very thin to where it's somewhat translucent. And I want to get rid of the white canvas because the white will it will hinder how you see colors and the true values of the colors. So you don't want to paint on a completely white canvas. It just doesn't work well with seeing the true colors of how things are. Because if you when I was doing prior videos, I told you that you either want a gray background or a brown background under this glass palette so that you can truly see the colors. So I'm going to mix some Gamsol, which is this here, odorless mineral spirits. And basically I'm going to mix, I've put this into a dropper to where I don't have to open up a bottle each time. And I just mix a various amount of that to that. And I take my palette knife and I mix it and make it very watery. And there's some dried paint in there and all that, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm utilizing my scraps so that it will work for what I'm actually trying to use it for. And even the little paint that's on the palette knife, I just smear it onto the canvas. And I'll mix a little bit more in there. Now, this is probably the only time that I necessarily use the very big brushes. And I'll come here and I'll use the number 12 flat, which is a very wide bristle brush. And always wet your brush with your Gamsol. And I pull out the excess, and I have rags where I actually pull the excess out of the brush. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to set my camera up to where you can see the actual easel and see what it is that I'm doing. Now, just to give you an FYI, this is the picture that I'm painting. And this is a individual portrait that I'm doing that someone's going to hang probably in their house. So it's going to have that bust and the face. And then I'm going to do the background. And there'll be a few little charms that I normally put in with the painting to identify with this particular individual. And as you can see, I use my iPads with the actual images on there. I can actually go in with my iPad and I can pinch and draw in the details when I want to look at the actual details of the face. And while I'm pinching this one in, I can leave this one as a whole so you can see the whole image. So I normally use two iPads to paint with. You don't have to have that setup, but I actually use that setup because it works for me. This is a particular mount that I bought to hold the iPad. Also, in prior videos, I was explaining to where I actually got this mount from to hold my 13-inch. So I have a 13-inch and a 10-inch iPad. This is the iPad Air. And they also sell a Pro like that, but it's kind of much more expensive. I didn't need all that for what I was going to use it for. Basically, what I use my 13-inch iPad for is to basically draw off of. So I don't need a whole lot of horsepower and computing power to do that. I could technically use an older iPad, but I do use this iPad for my art show and use it for my register. So I need the current latest iPads to do that. But anyway, I don't want to get too far off the topic. I want to stay with getting ready to paint a picture and how I set up to do that. So in some later videos, I will go over how I actually get my image, draw my image onto the canvas to get ready to paint. So this was done with a number 2 pencil. Now, let me explain something to you about this. Now, if you use a pencil to draw your image of what you're going to paint onto the canvas, what will happen when you start trying to use different colors like this, these lighter colors, when you put it up against the pencil will bleed into the paint. So to avoid that, and also to get rid of the white canvas, I use a thinned out paint, particularly raw sienna and some color like that, to basically paint my entire canvas. And these pencil marks and stuff will not go away when you use this color thinned out, very thin with mineral spirits. It won't get rid of the pencil marks. You can be able to see the pencil marks from under the paint. So without further ado, I'm going to set this up to where you can watch me paint, and we'll just get started from there. Now, after we basically went through the process of painting the canvas, I didn't want to waste your time in making a very long video. So what we did is we went ahead and painted the canvas with the thinned out mineral. And this is how it looks. And basically, this is what you end up with. Now, you can see that all my pencil marks and everything is there. You'll be able to see basically everything that you have drawn onto the canvas when you're done, and it just makes it easier for you to paint. As I told you in prior videos, when you do this, it doesn't take very long for this to dry. It normally takes about 30-40 minutes, maybe an hour, for this to dry to the touch, and you'll be able to paint after about an hour or so of drying. It dries very fast when you thin your paint out and use mineral spirits or Gamsol to thin your paint. So this is one of several videos. You can go back and look at some of my other videos and get details on how to manage other things. And these two videos here I'm going to merge together, and then I'm going to upload them to YouTube, so you can, as the amateur artist, you can go and look at this and learn some tips. These are things that I wish that I could have been told or taught when I first started oil painting. So I'm just making these videos to help you all out along. And if you like this video and this is helpful for your quest to become a wonderful professional artist, like and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for further videos where I deep dive into oil painting and to portrait painting. Now, we're going to work on this piece. When I start to paint, I'm going to come and make a video so you can see the workflow and how I start painting a piece like this. All right, for tuning in. And as I always say, you to keep painting, and we're going to like one painting at a time. This is CT Woods Art signing off. Stay tuned for the next video, and until then, stay blessed, stay positive, and keep creating.